Ajax to a certain extent, because I do believe that the fee that they're asking for is nothing short of ridiculous, as many of us know. But I also feel that that I'm just absolutely stunned, to be honest with you. Really, really absolutely stunned. I just cannot get my head around why they would reject a deal like that. It makes absolutely no sense. But before I get into that, I think the important thing to say is that I have to say that this is, I know I blame the Glazers for a lot. Why wouldn't we? But Fartini says walk away. But I really do think that you've got to take the context of this deal. And whilst I think Ajax are ridiculous, I also do think that they have every right to call it. They have every right to reject it, which is what they've done. So just to give a bit of context here, let's just basically go through the story. So Mike Verwey, who's been very good around Ajax this summer, Manchester United placed a new bid for Antony worth 90 million on Friday afternoon. And then Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United's new bid of 90 million for Antony has been rejected by Ajax earlier today and is considered not enough. That's why Antony is disappointed with Ajax. And then Mike Verwey says Antony is still refusing to train with Ajax and will miss their next game against FC Utrecht this summer, this Sunday. So that's the story. It's not, computer said no. This is not a joke. I mean, we were doing book titles that will never happen. And here's one. Any other club offers £80 million for Antony by Ajax. Because then that book's never getting written. You're never going to get £80 million for Antony. Never. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. Are you going to get £80 million for Antony? Again. Never, ever. So I needed to get that out. But look, it's normal for Manchester United fans to be frustrated. It's normal for Manchester United fans to feel disillusioned. Welcome to Members Club, Luke, and welcome to Members Club Grind Daily. And I feel I needed to get it out. And we can talk about what I would do and what you would do in a minute. But I do think we have to put meat on the bones and we do have to contextualise. And I think the important thing to say here is never forget where you're coming from. No, use the funds to sign Gakpo and another centre midfielder, says Pierce. I mean, I like these ideas, but they're flawed, and I'm going to tell you why they're flawed. There's only 6 days of the transfer window left. Who the hell is not going to play as like Ajax have? We roll over to PSV and they say we want £50 million. We go and try and get some other midfielder. Yeah, we want £50 million as well. We've messed this transfer window up, and many of us have been saying this, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. People are surprised. You know, last weekend, Sir Jim Radcliffe wants to buy the club. Man United are buying Casemiro, De Jong, Gakpo and Antony. A week later, we're not getting Gakpo, we're not getting De Jong, we've got Casemiro and we can't afford Antony. So that's the Glazers for you. A load of hot air and promises and then basically cold toast for tea. That's what we get. I don't know why we should be surprised, and this is why they need to be gone. What United should do is circumvent Ajax and give Antony a signing bonus that matches the sum it takes to buy himself out like PSG did with Neymar, says Delicate. We have to spend whatever it takes to get Antony and then we have to be angry at the Glazers, says Butterpants. I actually think that might be a consideration. I'm going to come back to what I would do. Remember this, look, I'm going to tell you a story. Hi Mark, sorry to go off topic, but have you had a chance to read Scintillating Football by Gareth Southgate? Ajax take the absolute piss, by the way, says Shauna Rook. Yeah, that's a book that's never going to get written. But so let me go through this and what I think. We are 6 days left of the transfer window, aren't we? And Ajax, let's go with the facts, because sometimes speculation, opinion, sometimes gets criticised because it's opinion and it's not fact. Let's go with the facts. So 6 days left of the transfer window. No, I've even got a better story than this. The middle of May, Erik ten Hag tells Manchester United that Antony is a priority signing for his rebuild in the middle of May. That's the start of the story. Don't worry, we're not going to go into June, July or anything like that. In the middle of May, Erik ten Hag says, Antony is one of my priority signings for my rebuild. And he's probably worth about £50 million if you start negotiating with Ajax now. Fast forward to 6 days before the start of September, which is where we are now. Manchester United are having €90 million bids rejected for Antony. with 6 days left of the transfer window. Can you see the problem? Because I can. In the middle of May, Manchester United knew that Eric Ten Hag wanted Antony. 6 days left of the transfer window as we approach fucking September, we are having €90 million bids rejected. Somebody explain to me the shit show that has gone on between the middle of May and the end of August that has put us in this situation for a player we have to buy because it's one of the priority signings for Ten Hag. What the hell has been going on for 3.5 months? And that's the question to ask, and that's why we are where we are now. We are overpaying, we are embarrassing ourselves to the footballing world again, and Ajax, whether they're stupid or not, have got United like that. And why, if you were Ajax, would you not say, that's not enough, we want another? I mean, literally, Ajax are playing a game of how high Manchester United will jump with a cattle prod up their arse. And I mean, you know, and United are just going to have to jump. And either United walk away and look like complete twats, or they pay the money and look like complete twats. Like, that's the truth of the story, isn't it? Whether we like it or not, there is a huge question again, much the same as the De Jong question, to be honest. Exactly the same as the De Jong question. Why, 3.5 months after Eric Ten Hag told the club that they wanted Antony as a priority, are we desperately spending way over the odds for Antony and being ridiculed in the footballing world by Ajax? Darmash Sheth has reported that we are in talks with Ajax after our last bid got rejected. We will get Antony for sure, but we will cough up more, says Sakin. I've got no doubt we're going to get Antony. But it's the sheer embarrassment of the volume of money that we're going to spend on Antony and how Ajax have basically done what every club has done to us for the last 10 years. Whether it's Leicester City, Sporting Lisbon, Borussia Dortmund, and now Ajax, Crystal Palace, you know, the list goes on. I bet we could get to 10 clubs really quickly that are nowhere near our level that have absolutely owned us in the transfer market over recent years. And we've overpaid. I mean, this, I'm sorry, I hope Antony succeeds, but he's going straight into the list of Sanchez from Arsenal, Palace Wan-Bissaka, Bruno from Sporting Lisbon, Sancho from Dortmund, Maguire from Leicester. All these deals, and some of them are good players, we've been absolutely owned by those clubs in relation to negotiations. It is pure embarrassment that we have put ourselves into this position. To be in a position where the footballing world on a Friday night is just going like this, couple of beers, getting ready for the Premier League weekend. Have you seen this breaking news? You won't believe it. Ajax have just rejected Manchester United's bid of €90 million for Antony. They've rejected it. They've absolutely bantered United here, and United are going to have to pay more. Oh my God, what a mess that club is. And that's what people are thinking tonight. It's what I'm thinking. It's what you're thinking. Do you think Ajax are playing hard to get because they know that Eric Ten Hag wants Antony badly and United will be ready to pay whatever? Exactly, Goats. Exactly. We cannot negotiate. Manchester United wouldn't be able to empty a jug of water with the instructions on the bottom. They'd fail. They're so bad at figuring things out. They just don't know what to do. And look, somebody quite rightly said today, and it is only opinion of mine, so you could jump the other way. But I've said throughout the summer that if we'd have gone for Antony at the start of June, which is June the 10th, go back on the United stand on June the 10th, it was a Friday, I did a video on the United stand saying that Brazilian reports were saying that Manchester United were in for Antony and it was going to hit the UK press in the next couple of days, and it hit on the Sunday. Manchester United want Antony. So June the 12th was when solid talks of Antony coming to Manchester United started. If we'd gone to Ajax on June the 13th and started negotiating, there is no way we would be paying €90 million. The reason we overpaid for Martinez and the reason we're overpaying for Antony is because Ajax, quite rightly, have said to United, you're having a laugh, lads. You're having a laugh. The transfer window opened in June. We were back in pre-season training in July, and you're trying to buy our players when the season started. They've whacked a massive amount of money onto Antony. And any Ajax fan will tell you this, and any Ajax journalist and any Ajax expert will say Ajax are well within their rights to charge whatever they like for a player they do not want to sell now the season has started. And that is what has happened. Explain to me why Man United were not negotiating with Ajax in the middle of June. And of course, remember, Ajax have sold a lot of players as well. And Ajax did get to the point very quickly where they went, enough is enough. We don't want to sell any more players. And if we do, it's got to be silly money. So United have completely mishandled this. And one of the things that really annoys me about this, and I've said it before, so apologies for repeating myself, is that I saw somebody today, that pub video is now the biggest joke of the century, says Mojo. I don't know what pub video. And one of the things that really irritates me is that somebody said on Twitter today, I don't care if the Glazers spend £100 million on Antony. It's not our money. They've wasted enough. Let's get him. But the wasted word is the word. Because if you are one of those people who says, I don't care if we spend £100 million on Antony, it's not our money, the Glazers are spending it. Well, it is our money. It's the club's money. And if we'd bought Antony for even 60 million, we'd still have another 25 that we could go and spend on something else, like Trap or something like that. So I don't like Man United overspending, and people will go, well, you can't moan about wages, you can't moan about that. I don't like it because I don't like inefficient running of a football club. We will spend about £200 million on Martinez, Antony, Casemiro and Malacia. I can't believe we're spending £200 million on those 4 players. You should be getting those players for about 150 and have another 50 to buy somebody else. It's just an absolute farce from start to finish, this transfer window. 90 million for Antony is a joke, and they rejected it after their annual turnover is 120 million. Walk away, you could get Sane for cheaper and he's 10 times better, says Sean Turner. Just offer them Palestri or Ahmad on loan and pay the amount they want for Antony. The relationship between Ajax and United is being ruined, says Farley. Right, what would I do? What would you do? I feel we need a bit of a poll here. Yeah, we do. We do need a bit of a poll. So, first of all, let's put a poll on. What would you do? In relation to Antony. For some reason I've done a rubbish poll there. Not only are we close to losing out on Antony and also on Frankie de Jong, maybe according to Sports. Cheers, mate. I'll talk about Frankie de Jong in a bit because it's a byproduct at the moment. I don't think anybody thinks that we're going to get him. What would you still try and sign Antony? So there you go. Yes or no in the chat. Thank you very much for everyone getting involved. Now, I'm going to say this before I start because things get taken out of context by Ajax fans. I respect Ajax. I remember Ajax as a kid winning the Champions League. I loved that team with Edgar Davids and Kluivert and fantastic team. I love what Ajax have done. You know, invest, nurture, sell. Brilliant what they do. The principles of Ajax are fantastic. Unfortunately for Ajax, you've got right in the headlights of the Manchester United fan base, and you are what is called collateral damage. In our frustration about the Glazers and what's going on, unfortunately, Ajax are going to get a couple of, you might not know what I'm about to say, but I do respect Ajax. Dubravka will be announced to try and distract us from Antony, says Marco. We could have had both Antony and Martinez for €90 million. This shows how bad the board is, says Dazzo. I think if we get Antony and Martinez, the total in euros is going to be about €160 million. Luke Jones, really looking forward to August the 29th, 2023, when United's third bid of 60 million still doesn't convince Sheriff to sell their right back, says Luke Jones. And how do you think Antony must be feeling reacting, says Wan? Well, good point from Wan, because it feels, this is what I would do, right? I would stay in the deal for Antony. And I don't know what you're saying in the chat, so I can't talk about that too much. But I would say stay in the deal for Antony, because I feel that he is a player that Manchester United have invested a lot of time in, and it is a player that Erik ten Hag wants, and it is a player that is effectively on strike for Manchester United. So I think that Manchester United have to get this deal done for Ten Hag and Antony. Ten Hag is the manager, and you saying let's pull out and go for Gakpo and another midfielder, that's not what the manager wants. The manager wants Antony, and the manager asked for Antony in May. It's the club and the Glazers that have messed this deal up. I don't even think we were in for Antony anymore. I think we'd walked away from Antony in July. Ajax wanted €80 million for Antony in July, and I think United walked away because it was too much money, which is why we were bidding for Anatovic and Rabiot. And I think when this talk of a bid came in for Sir Jim, the Glazers released the fees and went, let's go and get Antony now. That'll please everybody. But ultimately, Antony is what Ten Hag asked for in the middle of May. So I wouldn't pull out of the Antony deal because you've got to get the manager what he wants. And I'm really tired of seeing David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to a certain point not be given the players that they want. And then they get sacked, they get the blame, it's Ole out, it's Mourinho out. But really, they've never had the players that they wanted. And I don't want that to happen again. Otherwise, the cycle continues. So I think that you've got to stay in for Antony because it's what the manager wanted. And let's not forget, this player is desperate to come to us. He's on strike. He wants to come to us. You can't leave him in Amsterdam because we might have a part in why he's on strike. You can't leave him in that situation. Sancho never went on strike. Maguire never went on strike. Antony's on strike. We can't leave him out there to hang him out to dry. We've got a responsibility now. So we've got a responsibility to Ten Hag and we've got a responsibility to Antony. But it's going to be bloody embarrassing. 100% it's going to be embarrassing because the fee we're paying is bloody ridiculous. So I would stay in. It all started when we overpaid for Fellaini in 2013, says It's a Duck. Arnold and Murta have proven incompetence for any future deals. Europe already laughed at us before, says Michael Fetty. We can't use the same people again. I think Murta needs to be sacked. Jay West, welcome to the Members Club. I spoke to somebody last week who I know quite well, who told me years ago that United's reputation in the transfer market is a joke. And they said to me nothing's changed. Like Manchester United. And I said, well, slow sports news, Jim. Slow sports news there. But, okay. But effectively, I did say to that person, nothing's changed then, has it? He said, no. I think Van der Sar will come and rescue United with Antony deal, says Darren. Honestly, what's Van der Sar doing to rescue this deal? Can I just jump in there? How does Van der Sar rescue a deal where we're offering them basically what their turnover is in one deal? Honestly, Mark, I'm convinced that Antony will be our last signing no matter what, says Akil. I agree. And hi, Mark. United have embarrassed themselves. Can't believe I'm actually seeing United beg for a player. I guess the Glazers are just creating a hype with this signing, says Fimble. That pub video is now the biggest joke of the century. So, look, I would stay in the deal. It's really interesting on the poll because we've got a poll going on. Would you still try and sign Antony? Yes, 48%. No, 52%. So it's definitely dividing opinion in the chat. I see what you're saying. Ten Hag wants him, but 90 million is a joke. They've tried to get Gakpo and a striker, which we need desperately. You could probably get him a right back as well with 90 million, says Sean. Sean, I think you make a great point, and I think a lot of people who agree with you. Sean is basically saying we should pull out of this deal, get Gakpo, get a striker, and lick our wounds. And I think it's a great point. My problem is, Sean, and everybody else who thinks that, we're Manchester United. I'm Gary Neville. We're Manchester United. We may as well have Gary Neville sat in a room going with Manchester United because he'd get deals done quicker even if he just said that. We're Manchester United and we take ages to do deals. We're playing a game on Thursday where Ten Hag won't really be able to give much of his opinion. So basically, we've got a game tomorrow as well. We've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've got 4 days, really, to run things by Ten Hag in the last minutes of this transfer window. You think we're going to go and get Gakpo, a right-back and a striker? Not in 4 days. As the previous person just said, this is now looking like it's Antony or nobody else. And look, nothing's going to prevent us from being embarrassed here. Nothing. If we don't get him, we'll be the club that offered ridiculous money for Antony and still got rejected. That's humiliating. If we do get him, we'll be the club that offered ridiculous money for Antony. That's still humiliating. The fee we're offering is a joke. It's an absolute joke. I rate Antony, but I rate him in the sense that he could be a good player. That's what I like. Antony is exciting. I said a few weeks ago that if we sign Antony, it'd be the most exciting signing of the summer for me for Manchester United. But I'm not going to tell you that he's going to come in and be Mo Salah or Mane or anybody like that. He's an exciting player that could be really world class in the Premier League. He could also come over and be Memphis Depay. I don't know. I do not know. And that is terrifying when you're willing to pay £80 million for him. I believe we have to get him no matter what now because it's what Ten Hag wants and the player's on strike. But we've put ourselves into a situation where we can't win. We either get him and get laughed at for what we're paying, or we walk away and get laughed at and end up with inferior goods. Manchester United set the precedent by paying 80 million for a bang average defender in Maguire who has no pace, says Majek. I know Glazers don't want to sell, but if Sir Ratcliffe was to buy the club, then surely that would mean Arnold and Murta are out. Yes, they've got to go anyway, Cheery, in my opinion. If we don't sign Antony, he will look silly because he's on strike and won't go down well for both parties involved, says Nick. Welcome to the Members Club, Antony. Thank you very much. So yeah, I really don't know how this gets solved now. You know, I don't know which way this goes now. I'd probably be back to being 50-50. On the bright side, this will stoke Glazers out, says Wang. Well, I mean, that should be stoked up anyway. I mean, you know, as I said, could Depay be the Cavani type signing? We'll talk about him in a bit, Mojo. But yeah, I think that we can't win in this situation now. We're either going to massively overpay for a player that we were already overpaying for, or we're going to get rejected and it's going to be an absolute mess. The thing that sticks in my mind is, how are we still doing these sort of things? We might buy Antony and he might go to be one of the best players in the world. For 80 million, he's got to become one of the best players in the world, by the way. He's 22 and we're paying 80 million pounds. By the time he's 25, he's got to be in the top 5 in the world. That's got to happen. You don't buy a 22-year-old for 80 million and not expect them to go increase in value. This is, you know, Casemiro is going to decrease in value. You're buying the finished article. 60 million pounds at 30 years of age. That is the finished article as a world-class CDM. You know he's going to depreciate in value. You are buying him, you know, probably past his peak, but certainly, you know, hopefully still at his peak, and he's going to fall off. With Antony, when you spend 80 million pounds on Antony, he has to go up in value. And if he's going to go up in value, he's got to go up to 100 million or more, which means he's got to become one of the world's best players. That's the pressure we're putting onto this signing straight away. And I can't believe we're doing it, because the one that comes to mind, and there's a few, is Harry Maguire. We get ridiculed every day. Every day we get ridiculed for paying £80 million for Harry Maguire, and the club hate it. They bloody hate it. I know for a fact they hate the ridicule they get because of Harry Maguire. And yet, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing again and again and again. 3 years after spending £80 million on Harry Maguire and bantering ourselves because of it, we're about to risk it all again. But I think we've got to now. We're up a creek without a paddle, and we're just going to have to go through with it. That's my opinion. Fans criticise Ronaldo, but he played a few days after his son died and has been playing with chronic ankle problems since 2014. Ultimate professional, says Majek. Not getting Eric Ten Hag players he wants is like getting a dog and feeding it vegetables. You can't expect it to thrive, says Kia. I don't know. Can a dog survive on cucumber and cabbage? I don't know. Put it to the boffins. Mark, if we lose to Southampton, the Glazers will have a big decision. We have Muppets and Fragiles on the board, says Paul Woolley. It's amazing how 90 million got you Ronaldo 13 years back, and now it gets you Antony, who is good but not one of the best, says Goat. And are we not still in for Frankie de Jong? I want a new owner and a centre midfielder too, says Lol. Look, if we don't get him, there is no number one priority of the manager, says Yanir. Antony's favourite clubs are Real Madrid, Barcelona and Bayern. He will want to prove himself at United to get to play for his favourite club, says Kia. Well, as I said, I've said this already. Antony on strike to come to Manchester United doesn't mean that Antony won't go on strike in 3 years' time to go to Real Madrid. We might be on the receiving end of this in a few years' time. Hopefully we will be, because that means he'll be bloody world class and we'll have got our money's worth. You know, that would be the flip side of that coin. But I think that, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this. But as I say, I don't really feel that there's a winning situation for Manchester United now. It's and I suppose when you're talking about competence, the best way of talking about competence is let's play a little game. Let's pretend Manchester United are Barcelona or Chelsea or Manchester City, and they want to buy Antony. Do you think any of those clubs with 6 days to go would be offering 80, 90 million euros? No, they wouldn't. And this is something we've always been incapable of doing. Barcelona this summer have had Lewandowski getting offers from all over the place, and he's gone, I'm waiting for Barcelona. Rafinha's had deals with Arsenal and Chelsea done, and he said, I'm waiting on Barcelona. And then they've done a good deal with Leeds. And Koundé with Sevilla the same. Do you think if Barcelona wanted Antony, they'd be paying 90 million euros? They'd get him. I don't know how they'd do it, and I don't know what they'd pay, but it wouldn't be 90 million euros. There is something that is completely amateur about the way United recruit players. We're always really late in the window, and we always massively overpay. It's amateur. I'm so fed up of it. And I know it's not everybody's thing, transfers, but it's my thing, and it's a lot of other people's things. And for years, we've just been so bad. I'm tired of seeing Man City, Liverpool go to Wolves and say, we want your best player, Jota, and they get him for 40 million. Like, we go to Wolves and say, can we have Jota? It's 90. It's not just about the timing. It's about the competence. If Man City wanted Antony, this would have been done mid-June for 50 million quid. You know it. And here we are at the end of August, 90 million euros. And it can't be the manager. The manager asked for this player in the middle of May. Do you think United regret not going for Poch, says Rory? I don't think that's relevant, Rory. But then again, as he said, if he was in charge, his demands would have been high and he wouldn't have exposed them like Ten Hag. There are many other players we can buy. I love Chiesa or Gnabry, says Tuja. It's too late, mate. Will we sign new players or just get Antony quicker if they lose the next game? Says Storm. One club wants to sell its player, but he refuses to leave, while the other club doesn't even want to think of selling, but the player wants to leave, says Ritesh. I think United should walk away from Antony deal and sign Gakpo and Tielemans instead, says Gary. Well, that's what I want to talk about next, because so many of you good people are saying let's walk away, so let's discuss that. But I do want to just talk about what was just said there. What an amazing little contrast story of Manchester United's summer transfer window. One of Erik Ten Hag's priorities that we've spent all summer chasing doesn't want to come, but the club want to sell. And then the other of Erik Ten Hag's priorities desperately wants to come, but the club don't want to sell. It's amazing how we've got ourselves into those two ridiculous situations, and I think both are dictated to by poor negotiating. I think United, we did that one. I want to talk about what Gary said. You either back your manager and spend whatever is required so he can get the players he wants in, or stop complaining about the state of the club, in my opinion, says the Cuddler for Life. Stuart, sack the board, Glazers out and back the manager. We must back Eric or he's doomed. Antony has to come for the rebuild. And player recruiting, etc. depends on networking with European clubs. Unfortunately, Manchester United are a dinosaur and Woodward's arrogance probably put people off, says Wang. Our reputation in the European scene as a football club is a shambles. An absolute shambles. That was from 3 years ago. Our reputation is terrible. The treatment of Ranić has gone down really badly in Europe as well. Ranić is a well-liked manager in the European scene. He's an innovator. He's built football clubs. How United treated Ranić has gone down badly as well. So we're almost on our own in the footballing world. Nobody respects us. Nobody thinks we're good at what we're doing. And this is another reason why we need new owners. The Glazers are the problem. They feed it all. But below the Glazers, who live in America, you've got the day-to-day running of the club. And you've got people like Richard Arnold and John Murta who are in Barcelona like they're on a bloody stag do and they've got the wrong outfit on. They are not respected in the world football scene. They're not respected. And you're right, if you'd have respect, the only club that we probably had a good relationship with was Ajax. And they've absolutely mugged us off. Any update on Glazers Out movement? I've heard that Glazers don't reply to Sir Jim. Yeah, we spoke about that this morning, Druv. Nothing happening with that, unfortunately. I wish it was. Antony is costing us around what Dest, Tielemans, Gakpo and Asensio would cost, says Tyler. You are less vocal about the Glazers Out movement lately. No, I'm not sure. No, I'm not. Don't try and wind me up, because every video, every day, for at least 10 minutes, I'm talking about this. And there's a lot of stuff going on as well. So shut up and get on with talking about the Glazers Out, because don't start coming on here and trying to cause division, because a lot of people are working their ass off to try and do stuff about the Glazers Out movement, and don't start coming on here and trying to cause division about it, because I haven't seen anybody giving up about the Glazers. In fact, we spoke about the Glazers for the first 10 minutes about this fucking deal. Anyway, what I want to talk about is what you good people have been talking about, which is let's walk away. Now, my stance is we don't walk away. I know some of you agree with me, but you're not Erik Ten Hag and I'm not Erik Ten Hag. But what I know about Erik Ten Hag is that he wants Antony. So for all of you saying, let's get Gnabry, let's get Sané, let's go and get Gakpo, let's get Gakpo and Tielemans, let's get Kaladzic as well. All very valid points if you're the manager and you've got a competent director of football. You're not the manager and you don't have a competent director of football. You cannot say, if you are Ten Hag, right, John, pull out of that Antony deal right now. Get me Gakpo, Tielemans and Kaladzic for the 90 million euros. Go on. He'll go, what, next summer? No, now. That's not going to happen. You've got to do what the manager wants, and the manager doesn't want to move away from Antony as far as we know. Ralph Rangnick would have been a club legend. We were ignorant to let him leave. Alex, again, you've got to look at the Glazers again. You've got to look at Murta again. Murta recommended Rangnick, and then 6 months he's sacking him. It's just pure incompetence. Yes, the Glazers are terrible, but there's incompetence in that football club. I've said it time and time again. I know we'd all like to see an alternative reality just to have a glimpse to see if it's better. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody said, for 10 minutes, I'm just going to play you a video of what United's summer would have been if Ralph Rangnick had stayed? Lamer in the midfield, maybe Nkunku up front. I don't know what it would be, but it would have to be better than this because you'd have somebody who knows how to build football clubs. Antony just did an interview. Have you seen it? It says Oz. Nope. But I'll have a look. But look, you know what? Talking about walking away, I get what people are saying. You could go for Gakpo, but Gakpo's right-footed and he's not as good as Antony. So, it's an option B again, isn't it? I haven't even seen a tweet from Fabrizio. He's talking about Fofana, so I don't know what people are talking about there. But look, there are alternatives, of course. Of course there are, but I feel that there is. For one, I don't think there's any time for us to do anything about it, and for two, you're not going for the player that Erik ten Hag wants. For me, if you've got an alternative to Antony, by the way, it's got to be left-footed. This is the profile of forward that he needs. He needs a left-footed winger. It's no point saying Gakpo because he needs a left-footed one. Antony is Erik ten Hag's top target, but he also wants to sign a striker, a goalkeeper and a right-back before the window closes, says Hurst Class. Look, I think it's going to be a bit. One thing's for sure, it'll be a busy last few days of the window. But there's also coming in from Hurst Class that United are in talks with PSV over the 35.5 million rated Dutch winger Cody Gakpo and Newcastle regarding Dubravka, which is something we know anyway, isn't it? And Ajax are playing hardball with United and have told the club that they may have to pay more than 100 million to sign the 22-year-old. United are likely to go back in with another offer. United's improved bid of 76 million was rejected, which is, of course, 90 million euros. I think they have to pay 95 million euros. I think Fabrizio Romano's done an interview with him, hasn't he? But, I mean, as a prediction, I would imagine that interview... Here we go. Antony, I made it clear I wanted to leave the club. Today, in a meeting with the club, I expressed my old interest in leaving the club, only this time with a considerable offer on the table. Other offers have already arrived. Ajax always refused. So, it's getting very messy. In June of this year, I interrupted my vacation and came personally to inform the managers of Ajax, including new coach, about my wish to leave. And they should consider this possibility because it was a project for 2 seasons. So, I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? Now you've got a situation where Antony to Ajax, let me follow my dream, says Rudy, and we can make signings quickly if we want. Case in point, Casemiro and Ronaldo. We are slow on transfers on purpose, says YFC. Antony, in his interview, has said that his agents told Ajax in February that he wants to leave the club since he was part of only a 2-year project. The best thing to do would be to unfollow United on all social platforms. They love the numbers, but I know it's impossible, sadly, says Jameson Gray. I'm just getting you these quotes as they come in, quite interesting, because it might sort of fit in with... so in June of this year, he interrupted his vacation. Well, that's when we were talking about it. That was June the 10th, when I was told from Brazilian outlets that Manchester United were in for Antony and it was going to hit the UK press, and it did 2 days later. So the question has to be, I know that Antony is speaking publicly now about Ajax, but I actually have sympathy with Ajax. I mean, they should just take the fee. They 100% they should take the fee. But what have United, if Antony's telling them he wants to go back in June, We've only started bidding in late August. He says, I'm not asking for them to release me. I'm asking Ajax to sell me as the highest bid received by a player who plays in the Eredivisie in history. I have been insisting since February. Ajax hinders my exit with the argument that they only have 5 days to replace me. I made it clear I want to leave the club today in a meeting with the club. I expressed my old interest in leaving the club, only this time with a considerable offer on the table. So basically, what Antony is saying is that he told the club as far back as February and again in June that he wanted to leave the club. And that, you know, he felt his time was up. And now there's an offer on the table and the club are saying no. You can see his point. You can see his point. But you can also see Ajax's point. They don't have to accept it. And you can also see that Manchester United have left this very late. Very, very late. And I think that's what Ajax are trying to say. Ajax are trying to say they should have done this deal. Manchester United could have done this deal a lot earlier. And the fact that Antony is saying, we've only got 5 days to replace you, I think that's what it's coming down to here. I think it's coming down to the fact that Ajax are pissed off with United going in so late. And to be honest, so are we. If the player alerted the club about leaving that long ago, they should have got a replacement. It means we didn't bid, hoping it'd get fixed due to Frankie de Jong, says Mario. It's United's fault, Mario. Mark, we need to meet up for a drink if you see close to West Midlands. We both want the same thing for United. It's Paul Woolley. I'd like that, Paul. And so the way it is, if you look at those quotes, and I'm sure you can see them on Twitter, the way it is, Antony told Ajax he wanted to leave in February, and he told them again in June. Now a bid's come in late August. Ajax are saying, but we haven't got a replacement. So Antony's quite rightly saying, but you knew I wanted to leave. And then Ajax will say, but nobody was offering anything for you until now. It's too late. So really, it's United's fault. And we go back to what we were talking about 20 minutes ago. Why did United not put a bid in June? When Antony told the club he wanted to go, why did we not bid in June? Bid in June, get rejected, Antony does what he's doing now. Why have we waited till the end of August to bid and force him to strike? If he told the club he wanted to go back in June and February, why are we not bidding until now? It comes down to us again. Why are we not... I understand Ajax's point that, you know, United are only bidding at the end of fucking the transfer window. We can't replace you. I understand Antony's point, but I've been telling you for ages I want to go. To which Ajax would say, there's no bloody bid on the table, you prat. How can we let you go when there's no bid? I know you're telling us you wanted to go, but there's no bid, mate. It's like saying I want to jump out the plane. Don't bloody do it. We've not got the parachutes. Well, you know, I understand Antony's point. I understand Ajax's point. And ultimately, it's come down to Manchester United's complete haphazard approach to this transfer window that is now destroying a relationship with Ajax and Antony and Ajax. And it didn't need to be like this. It did not need to be like this because everything Antony's done at Ajax now will be soured by the way that he's leaving. But ultimately, I think it comes down to us. If we'd have bid in June, I think this would have all been sorted and amicably as well. Loan the Mahmed thinks second mid needed more though, says Robin. Poor Antony, bet on the wrong horse, but we should walk off. Dybala free transfer in May looks great now, says Thomas. Why didn't United go for Alan St Maximum? He has pace, skills, doing a good Premier League, says Prabin. Well, we can't just pluck names out of the hat, mate. Why not make the team a community-owned team with stockholders to fans, says Big D. And pull out now, use 10% of the 100 million to rebuild the scouting and recruitment department and go for well-scouted, attainable targets next summer, says Nida. My fear is that when we get Antony, which I think we will, is that the pressure on him is going to be huge. Now, James Ducker has just come out with a tweet. He says, Manchester United are weighing up whether to walk away from Antony pursuit after Ajax rejected eye-watering third bid of 76 million, 90 million euros. Antony, deep frustration, outlined in an interview with Fabrizio Romano. United now considering whether they go back and or pursue other targets. You know what? Antony's also said, I hope Ajax understands me. The future of a football player is totally uncertain thing and the opportunities are unique. So my message is one of gratitude. You know what? Some of you think we should walk away. And if we walk away, we walk away. But I'm disgusted with this football club anyway for many different reasons. And I will be disgusted if we walk away and leave a player that's gone on strike to come to us. that is a shit show made by us. You know, this player has been wanting to come to us all summer. Erik ten Hag has been trying to get him all summer. We could have got him in June. We try and get him at the end of the window. He's on strike, and then we walk away. Disgusting, 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 disgusting. And ultimately, it always comes back to us. It always comes back to Manchester United's inability to behave correctly in a transfer window. Incompetence magnified to the millionth level. It's really, 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 really disappointing. And it's a mess. It is a complete and utter mess now, because I just don't know how this... If we walk away, I'll be gutted for Ten Hag and I'll be gutted for Antony. If we sign him, I'll be happy for Antony and happy for Ten Hag, but we'll all be looking at that transfer fee going, oh my God, what have we done? So I don't think we can win now. I really don't. Thomas, I'm not going to talk about that. I've spoken about it so many times, and I'm not going to talk about it. Suffice to say, what we're working on as the biggest Manchester United fan channel on YouTube, what we're working on is something different from uniting YouTube channels, because ultimately the YouTube social media space is already Glazers Out, and it's already doing the same thing. The big issue we have as a fan base in relation to Glazers Out is uniting the whole fan base. That's match-going fans, worldwide fans. So I'm talking supporters clubs. I'm talking the Manchester United Supporters Trust, the 58, the Red Army, and many others. That is what needs to be united and unified. Everybody sitting around and doing a YouTube video from different channels is not going to do anything other than get ridiculed. Because the problem in the fan base is that people of certain groups do not like the social media fans. So the social media fans sitting together and going, this is what we need to do, will just antagonise when we need to build bridges. And also, if I need to talk to people and communicate people, we've got the biggest platform and you are this community. I don't need to sit and have a chat with somebody else from another YouTube channel just because they've got a YouTube channel. This community, the United Stand community, has people in front of the camera that I can chat with, and all of you good people I can chat with every night. So no, it's probably not a bad idea, but it's not the idea we're looking at, because we've been looking at Glazers Out for a very long time, and we have had the constant message for a very long time, is that we want to work with people who don't normally work with the online fans, to unify the fan base and let them run the show, not us. I don't want to run the show. I don't want to send the message of this is what we want to do, because that's when you get into dangerous things about empty Old Trafford, which is the most stupid idea I've ever heard, but it's coming from a good place. If you empty Old Trafford, of course the Glazers are going to shit themselves. But you can't just put it on social media. Let's empty Old Trafford. Don't buy this, don't buy that. It's too simplistic. Those things take months and months of planning. And to do that, you've got to have everybody on board, not a few YouTube channels. So look, we'll work on what we're working on. There's money gone into things already. There always will be for that. And, you know, I don't want to be front of house or anything like that. I'm more than happy to do a lot of the stuff that we do behind the scenes that people will never know about. So thank you. And you lot make it possible. All I can say is we are involved in things and trying things. This is going to affect the potential new owner if he wants players from Ajax, as this owner is ruining the relationship and then the others can't do nothing, says Nathan. No. I disagree with you now, Nathan. If Manchester United got new owners, a new CEO and a new director of football, you build bridges, don't you, straight away. It's like getting new neighbours. If you've got a knobhead who lives next door, you can't stand them, and then new neighbours come in and they come round with a box of Quality Street and a bottle of wine and they invite you to a barbecue, suddenly everybody's happy. We can change overnight. The perception of United can change and become competent overnight. But it will never become competent when we've got people running our club and running our summer transfer activity like we have now. They're incompetent people who just can't... And let's not forget, Woodward's gone now and he's been replaced by Arnold and it's got worse. How much is Antony coming in worth to United? Does he win as the Premier League? Says Nida. No. No, he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. And... this is what I worry about Antony. I nearly did a little bike then. I used to do this as a kid. I can't do it now. I sound like a big lorry. What was I saying? I forgot. Completely gone. How much is Antony coming in? Yeah, look, this is what worries me about Antony. I really like Antony. Very exciting player. Very, very excited player. But the pressure on him, not necessarily the price, not necessarily the pressure. The price tag on him is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Antony says, Fabrizio says, what's your message to Ajax fans? I hope Ajax fans understand me because the future for a football player is totally uncertain and the opportunities can be unique. My message is one of gratitude for Ajax club and fans. People need to listen to me and understand that my motivation moves me towards happiness. I need this to continue performing at a high level. Ajax will always be in my heart. I was very happy in Amsterdam. I won titles at Ajax, made friends and built part of my career. But now I reinforce that I'm ready and full of motivation to follow my story and my dreams. Look, I mean, I've got to come back to this story that's been evolving for the last hour. I have seen things like this, but I probably haven't seen things like this for a while. And it's completely made... It's actually a PR disaster, let's be honest. If the Glazers, Arnold and Murta leave Antony hanging now, they would officially become the single most toxic executives in European football, says SK. Maybe Van der Sar is actually supporting the Glazers Out movement by exposing the incompetence of Arnold and Murta. I'll tell you this for free. I'll tell you this for free, right? Of course it's free, YouTube's free. But I'll tell you this for free. Antony, this is a PR disaster. Manchester United tonight have had a €90 million bid rejected by Ajax. That's absolutely embarrassing. To be bidding that much in the first place is a joke. To be rejected is embarrassing. Ajax have rejected it, and now the player has come out and done an interview basically saying, I don't want to be here. I've told you I don't want to be here, which is a PR disaster for Ajax. So Man United have taken a bloody nose in a PR disaster. Ajax have taken a bloody nose in a PR disaster. And Antony is exposing himself as absolutely desperate because he's doing interviews behind the club's back, exposing the club and putting himself on the line. It's a PR disaster for all three of them. But from Manchester United's point of view, we can't control what Ajax do. Antony's put himself on the line. Basically, he's put himself on the line, and if we don't take him off the line, he's going to get into big trouble. But I'll tell you this. If Manchester United walk away from this deal, we will be screwed in the future. No player is ever going to trust us again. They're never going to go on strike. They're never going to force a move because this will set a precedent. Manchester United will let a player go on strike, publicly say they want to leave, and then leave them to dry, hang them out to dry. United might still walk away, but we can't walk away. We've played this completely wrong. We've exposed ourselves as completely incompetent. But if we walk away from this, every other player in Europe will go, bloody hell, look at Manchester United. What a way to deal in a transfer. That player clearly has been told by them that they want him to come. He's gone on strike and then they've hung him out to dry. I will not be going to Manchester United. No way. Absolutely not. Not doing that. And that is something to bear in mind. Reputationally, we are screwed. So I don't know who the winner is here. We are exposed and can't walk away. Well, we can walk away, but it'd be disgraceful. And we're offering stupid money. Antony's stuck and has actually done an interview now I don't think he should have done, but is basically made it impossible for him to go back and play for Ajax again. How does he play for Ajax again? And Ajax really just have to accept that Antony's gone now, because having done that interview, how can he wear an Ajax shirt again? What's he going to do on September the 2nd? Oh, I was only joking. I didn't really want to leave. I'm here. I'm happy. How does he put a shirt on again? Imagine that's a United player doing that. Even imagine that was Ronaldo. You can't have him back. He's got to go. But the great thing for Ajax is they can just go, yeah, we'll give us 95 million. I mean, I've never known this. Right? You've got a player publicly saying I won't play for Ajax anymore, and yet United are still chucking money at Ajax. This is not how it's meant to work. It's not how it's meant to work. This is like complaining at a restaurant for crap food, and then instead of them refunding you, you give them a tip. You know what I mean? The player is publicly saying, I won't play for Ajax anymore. And Ajax is saying, well, we're not selling you. And United are going, there's a bit more money. The way this should be working is United say, He's just handed in a public transfer request. He's on strike. We'll give you £40 million now, not 90. But we won't. We'll go up. That's how crap we are at negotiating. Like, I tell you now, Barcelona would be getting him for about 40 million now. Barcelona would be going, this is over. He's just gone public. Ajax fans hate him now. He ain't playing for Ajax again. They've got to sell him in the next 5 days. Let's walk away. Walk away. Walk away with 40 million on the table and tell him that's what it is. The Glazers notoriously make last-minute hugely overpriced panic buys is a complete reflection on the incompetence of the club, says Porik. And also from Paul, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Goldbridge, I praise you. Thanks, Paul. So I suppose where we are now is what's going to happen next. And I suppose, but, you know, I think that Antony, I'm just trying to think how this goes next. And I'm thinking on my feet because it's great when you get live stuff. They're never gonna get that offer again. So they've got to take it, haven't they? Look, I say this with all respect to Ajax, but I don't know what you're doing. And it's up to you what you do. I don't support Ajax, I just respect Ajax. Humphrey says the next step is predictable. Tomorrow morning, Ajax will publicly set a price of at least 110 million euro. Yeah, I think you're right, Humphrey. I think if Ajax are clever, they'll come out and set the price publicly. They'll come out and say, we don't want to sell this player, and but we respect what Antony has said, but we don't want to sell him because we've only got 5 days left. Therefore, the price is set at 110 million euros, and leave it and walk out and say that's it. Because at the moment they're saying he's not for sale. They need to set a price, and they can set whatever price they like. But they will never get that money offered again. And I do wonder what's going on at Ajax, by the way, because they're not that club. I can't remember them doing this before. Ajax have always been happily sell, invest, nurture. Sell, invest, nurture. They're not like Dortmund were. I mean, Dortmund did this with Sancho, didn't they? They wanted stupid money and were not going to move. It's almost like Ajax have become Dortmund. And they probably, to be fair, can you knock Ajax for doing it, considering there are many blueprints of how to screw United over. Leicester have done it, Palace have done it, Sporting have done it, and Dortmund have done it. So maybe Ajax are a little bit cleverer than you think, because maybe they've just gone, look at what Dortmund did with Sancho. We'll just do exactly the same, and they'll either pay stupid money or they won't get the player. How are you going to pay more for Antony, who you could have got cheaper, and pay more than you did for Sancho, and he's better in English with tax, says Nathan Allen. Yeah, I think the only winner in this is Ajax. They might feel like they're losing, but they win. 50 million plus Chong, says Chris. Yeah, he's not worth 40 million, mate. But, yeah, Mark, is there a danger you might become arrogant if United start dominating, says Thomas. I don't think so. I think the years in the wilderness have made me actually quite even-handed. I'm not really that arrogant about other clubs anymore. I used to be. But I think the winner of this is going to be Ajax. When they calm down and realise they've got stupid money for Antony, they will win. They need to realise that Antony is toxic to them now. He doesn't want to be there. He's publicly said he doesn't want to be there. You've got to wash your hands of that. You know, I think if the way I look at it is if they were looking at keeping Antony, you would want him to be performing of sound mind and focused. Well, you're not going to get that Antony. You're going to get a very unhappy, disruptive Antony. So you take the money on offer, you let him go. You reinvest that into what you're good at, and you learn from it, I suppose, and you win from it. From Man United's point of view, we are always overpaying for Antony. Whether he works or not, we are always overpaying. Even if he becomes a world-class player and we get 150 million from PSG in a couple of years, the profit's still only going to be 60. If we'd got him for 50, that profit's 100. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Ajax chuck in 10% of the sell-on fee as well. You never know. We could get our pants pulled down even more. So we are the winners in this are Ajax, Ten Hag and Antony. I think United have exposed themselves as being completely incompetent on this deal, and we paid a very heavy price for it. But what comes next, I suppose, is important. And I think what comes next is he will be sold. I just think we'll pay ridiculous money. We can't walk away. you can't walk away now. You can't walk away from a player that's publicly saying that. A player who has put everything on the line to play for us, that is the kind of player I want in my team, not bothered how much we pay, get him in, to sack him. United will be known as the only team in Europe destroying careers of their players, managers and even players of other teams. Fans will never forget, says SK. United are good at transfer windows, good at getting other clubs to grow more disdain about United, says LJ. Well, it's funny, isn't it? Graham Cox says, why am I paying for super chats that are being ignored? Sorry, mate, they do whiz through sometimes. I try and read them all. Apologies. It's funny how this video has progressed tonight, because we started off saying, should we walk away or not? And it was 50-50. I said, don't walk away, because we've already embarrassed ourselves and Antony wants us and Ten Hag wants Antony. So get the manager what he wants. Man United embarrassing themselves on big fees is embarrassing, but let's get the player. I think where we are now is we have to get the player. He's done a bloody interview. You've got to get him now. And unfortunately, I will just keep saying it, we could have done this deal in June, and now we're doing it at the end of August, and we're embarrassing ourselves. Typical Manchester United. Nothing ever runs smoothly. Deadline day only is in for him. They will have double thoughts, says Paul. Yeah, so what do I think is going to happen? Well, we've got a game tomorrow, so you can still do a deal while there's a game on. It feels like we could do this deal in the next couple of days, but on the other hand, it feels like it might run into next week. My inclination is this will run a little bit longer. Do you think United told him to do that interview, says Rory? No, I don't think United would do that. We can't have our hands on that interview. Ajax will go mad. We can't be doing that. Do the poll again. Okay, let's do the poll again. Should we stay in for Antony? There you go. My feeling is, and it's only a prediction, my feeling is that this deal will run on for a few more days, because basically Ajax will just be really pissed off after that interview. They're going to be very angry. If I was United, I'd give Ajax the night to have a think about it, because they're going to be fuming. They won't. And look, Antony should not have done that interview. As a United fan, it's great, but it's disrespectful to do that. You know, you are weakening Ajax's hand massively. You are really weakening Ajax's hand. And he's obviously desperate to do that, but that club has given him a platform in European football, and he's basically just weakened them. But for us, it's great. I think Ajax are going to be very angry, and I think that United are just going to have to be a bit patient. And I think what's going to happen is Ajax are going to be angry and say, we've rejected 90 million euros, you need to increase that bid. And when United increase it, they might reject it again until they want to accept it. So I think this could run for a few more days yet, is my honest opinion. But I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there unless we do something ridiculous, which is walk away. And I will say it again. If we walk away from this deal, when Antony's done a public interview saying that he wants to come, it will damage our reputation irreparably with future signings and other football clubs, because that's not how you do business. And Ajax will blame us. They'll blame us for unsettling Antony. They'll blame us for the interview. And if we walk away, they'll blame us even more for the carnage we've caused. We've handled this really badly. And we need to, just get the deal done and, basically apologise to Ajax in a sense. But look, that won't happen. Mark, can you shout out my partner Kareem driving us to Southampton for the game and listening to you? Enjoy the game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the watch along, Sue. I won't be surprised if Ronaldo leaves at the end of the transfer window and we ultimately go for Arnautovic, says Aradia. Anything's possible. Right, look, go and enjoy your evening. We've got a football watch along tomorrow. Let's wait and see. I think it's going to be a bit of a cooling off period now as Ajax lick their wounds. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Thanks everyone who became a member by joining the members club. And 70% of you say you would now stay in for Antony, which is a change by 20% from the start of the show after that interview. Loved it though. It's great, isn't it? The way we've been live when that actually happened. We've spoken about the Fabrizio Romano interview, Stanley. It's his problem that he did the interview. Either give Ajax 40 million or walk away, even with eggs on their faces. At least it's 90 million saves, says Peter. Lots of opinion. Respect it. That's what it's all about. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll be back tomorrow for the watch along and another big day for United. Take care, everyone.